Child's Story of the Bible by Mary A. Lethbury. Read by Stephen J. Carrington. Chapter 4. Isaac, the Shepherd Prince. Before Abraham died, he thought much about his dear son Isaac, to whom he was going to leave all that he had. The young man had no mother, no sister, and soon he would have no father. So the old man called his old and faithful servant, and told him to go on a journey into the land of his fathers, and to bring back with him a wife for his son Isaac. The children of Nahor, Abraham's brother, lived there still, and Abraham wished for his son Isaac a wife of his own people, who should be both good and beautiful, and not like the heathen women of Canaan. So the old servant listened to Abraham and promised to do all that he commanded. He loaded 10 camels with presents for his master's family away in Syria, and Abraham said, "The Lord shall send his angel before thee." And from his tent door he saw the little caravan of camels and servants, as they set out across the plain toward the land beyond the river Jordan. There was a desert to cross and many dangers to meet, but the old servant believed in the God his master worshipped, and was not afraid. When he came to Haran, he stopped outside the town by a well of water. It was early evening, and the women were coming each with a water jar on her shoulder to draw water. The old man prayed that the Lord would show him which among these daughters of the men of the city was to be the one who was to be his young master's wife. Before his prayer was ended, Rebekah of the family of Abraham's brother Nahor came bearing her pitcher on her shoulder. She looked very kind and beautiful, and when she had filled her pitcher, the old man asked her for a drink of water. Then she let down the pitcher upon her hand, saying, "Drink, my lord," and asked if she should also give water to his camels. While she was giving him a drink, the man showed her some golden jewels that he had brought, and when he had asked her name, and knew that God had sent her to him for his young master, he gave them to her, and worshipped the Lord who had led him to the house of his master's brother. Then Rebekah ran in and told Laban, her brother, and the old servant of Abraham had a warm welcome at the door of Nahor's house. "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord," they said. And after they had cared for the camels and the men, there was a hurrying of servants to prepare a feast. But the old man would not taste food until he had given the message of his master. Then the father and brother of Rebekah saw that the Lord had sent for her, and they said, "Let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Lord hath spoken." And the old servant bowed his face to the ground, worshipping the Lord who had led him. Then there was feasting, and giving of costly gifts, and preparing to take a long journey, for the old servant was in haste to get back to his master. And Rebekah, who was willing to go, took her maidservants and rode away into a far country to be the wife of Isaac. When Isaac was walking in his field at sunset, thinking and praying to God, he looked up and saw that the camels were coming, and he hastened to meet them. When the old servant told Rebekah that it was his young master, she alighted from her camel and covered herself with a long veil, as was the custom of the Syrian women. When the old servant had told the story of his journey, he gave Rebekah to Isaac, and he took her to the tent that had been his mother's, and she became his wife, so that he was no longer lonely and sad. Isaac lived to a very great age, and had 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. He was a gentle, quiet man, fond of his family, his flocks and herds, and at the place where his father and mother were buried, he lived among the fields and oak groves of Hebron until he died.